Welcome back, car dorks, for another episode of Between Two Cars. Today, we're going to be talking about why new sports cars are not selling. The 400Z sucks at selling. The Mark V Supra sales are horrible. The S650 sales are the worst Mustang sales ever. I believe that's what the headline was. So today we're going to be talking about that. I'm about to fart. Oh, what about another one? Ooh, that one might have been a little wet, but we got to continue. Anyways, today we are talking about that. And as someone, I wouldn't say I bought the car because I didn't, but somebody that has a household with an S650, I feel like I can put some good knowledge on that. I'm going to cover it more in a main channel video, but let's just talk about a couple theories. Theory number one, people don't care about sports cars anymore. True and false at the same time. People do care about sports cars. If you look at the C8, I think C8 sales are great. And I think a lot of people are hyped for the new C8 ZR1. And people were really excited for the Z06. I'm not hearing Chevy complain. I see C8s fucking everywhere. And they're at a higher price point as well. So I don't think that's the case. However, at the same time, if you don't innovate your sports car, then nobody's going to want to buy that shit. If you can build a car better than what they sell, then why would you buy the newest version? It's like the iPhone. You know, everybody and their mama complains that Apple releases the same phone every year, yet everybody buys it because of a couple minor reasons. There are some upgrades, new camera technology, new features, AI technology, this XYZ new buttons, whatever it is, smaller island. You get what I'm saying though. They innovate one way or another, so there may or may not be a justifiable reason to buy that car. Let's talk about the 400Z right now. Somebody put it very well. You could, in theory, build a 400Z in your backyard. I believe they come with the VR30 motor. I might be wrong, maybe the wrong... I need to go lock my dogs up. Sorry, had to deal with my dogs. They hear me talking, they go right to the back door, and they just bark nonstop because they want to be with me. They love me so much. Great souls. Anyways, yeah, the 400Z comes with the VR30 DETT. Cool motor. I believe it's out of the... Is it the Red Sport? The Q50 or the Q60? I think it's the Q50. Regardless, it's just a motor that they already have, and they tossed it in essentially a 370 chassis. So on paper, you could build it in your backyard. That being said, that and the high price point and the not so great performance that comes with it, I could see why that car is not selling. Now let's look at the Mark V Supra. The Mark V Supra has a B58 that comes in automatic and rarely manual transmissions. And although I do think it is the best revival of like an old JDM car, it's still kind of lackluster. Like you look at the car, Black Widow's back, you look at the car and it's already, I don't want to say dated, but like it's been around for a few years now. Not many refinements, where BMW, they refine their cars every couple damn years. There's no new improvements to the Mark V platform. Same motor, same horsepower, same shit we've been getting since 2020 it is. It's been 5 years. I think it's time for a refresh, although I think they are canceling production. Or maybe I'm thinking of the R35, which is a car that should have been canceled production-wise years ago. It's the same car. Okay, let's talk about, though, the S650. I just realized I got so sidetracked by going out there that I didn't finish talking about potential reasons of why these cars are failing. Reason number two, people all of a sudden care about gas mileage and MPG and blah, blah, blah. False. That is not true. I can guarantee that's not true because people buy trucks. Trucks still sell more than cars, and trucks get shittier gas mileage. So gas mileage has nothing to do with it. Trucks are more practical, don't get me wrong. Like nobody's buying a truck because I think it's cooler than a sports car. But point is, if people really wanted to save on gas, then Priuses and EVs and all of this crazy shit would be up the wazoo, and nobody would touch SUVs and trucks, even though that's what dominantly sells. There's a reason why sedans and coupes are kind of a thing of the past and all you see are crossovers and SUVs. It's because they sell. So I don't think that that is a reason. A reason that I really do believe is they don't cater to the people that would want to buy these sports cars. You and I, we like buying a car and we get bored of it very, very quick. So what do? We throw money at it. Intake, exhaust, long tubes, supercharger, turbo, pulley, XYZ. You get what I'm saying? We throw shit at the car because we get bored of it very, very fast. We probably all have ADHD. We're probably all a bit autistic. It's okay. But what these companies are doing is they're making it harder for us to do that. And it's not necessarily their fault. I think some companies genuinely don't want you to touch their ECUs and don't want you to tune them and all that fun stuff, even though that's what would drive sales. The S650 is, I think, the best example of this. So earlier this year, last year, 2024, Alma bought an S650. She was tired of just only having a daily. She wanted a fun car that she could drive around with us and mod and, make content with. She bought the S650 because new Gen 4 Coyote, it's a cool car, it's modern, it had the things that she wanted, and just since I'm like a Mustang guy, it's kind of similar to what I already have. I mean, I have a built Gen 3 Coyote, so a Gen 4 isn't too far off. The downside of that is she can't make content really with the car unless she whipples it, or unless she throws a Roush blower on it, or unless she does, just jumps straight to the finish line. That's not a way to build a car, in my opinion. Like, especially for her, and something now that she daily drives, why would somebody want to buy a platform where it's either bone stock or fully fledged 800 horsepower race car? There's no reasoning behind it. The Mark V Supra, when it came out, it had locked ECUs, and after a year or two, they became unlocked. Same with the F-150 Coyote. A year or two, I think the Coyote took 2 years, it became unlocked. So the Gen 4, I don't think is going to sell good until the ECUs are unlocked, because the people that want to buy a Coyote are not going to buy a Coyote that is going to force them to be stock. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. You can't do minor bolt-ons to a Gen 4 Coyote and retune. You can do them, and they claim the computer will learn and balance out AFRs, and you can see dyno charts of this actually happening, but you can't throw E85 at the car. You can't go in there and adjust it yourself and dial in your fuel maps and have it run how you want to run it. You can't do that. And that's a real big bummer. Like, we keep thinking with her car, hey, what can we do to make it a little faster? What can we do to make it a little bit more sporty? And honestly, the only thing we can do right now is rear gears. She didn't buy the performance pack, and I think the performance pack comes with 355s. Hers are 315s. So the only thing we can really do is throw 355s or 373s at it. And yeah, it's going to wake it up and it's going to feel quicker. But that's just gearing. We're not adding any horsepower. So in my opinion, that's one of the biggest flaws with these new sports cars coming out. And I don't know if it's the government to blame or if it's the manufacturers or whatever it is. Obviously, I live in California. It's like the worst state to live in for all this fun stuff that you don't get to do. But it's a real big bummer. I bought the ZR1, and within a week, I had ordered an intake. I had already gutted the cats. I had already done all this stuff and pretty much mapped out what I wanted to do to this vehicle. But with her car, you can't do that. Sure, we can go out and buy $600 Steeda intakes that claim a gain of like 4 horsepower, but what is the point in that? The car is quick from factory. It is more than enough to have fun with, and it is definitely more than enough to hurt yourself or get into serious trouble with. I mean, it makes 480 horsepower, whatever it makes. But we want more. Car enthusiasts want more. We get bored very fast. So looking at, the Mark V Supra or the S650, I think that is honestly the biggest flaw and the biggest reason why they're not selling. Nobody can buy the car and do what they want without consequences. You know, if you do start modding it and shit goes wrong because you can't tune it, you're cooked. So, I mean, you're cooked regardless. Even if you start modding it, you're cooked. You're going to void your warranty. But it is a bummer that you go out and buy a $45,000 car and you can't throw E85 at it. Like, it would be perfect. It would be a perfect daily for her. If we could throw a flex sensor at it and make it just a flex fuel vehicle, she can daily drive on 91. And then when she wants to go out and have some fun, we could throw some E in it, make it just a little bit quicker, maybe make it break, you know, 570 wheel or not 570, 470 wheel or, you know, whatever. And just make it, you know, wake up a little bit, an extra 30 or 40 horsepower. Hey, that's plenty, you know, honestly. It makes the car pretty fast. I think that car with E85 and a couple bolt-ons, I think it would beat a stock Hellcat. Not a stock Red Eye, not anything like that, but a 707 horsepower Hellcat, I think it would beat it. Gen 3s would do it all the time, so a Gen 4 that makes slightly more power, I 100% think it would beat it. We took it out racing the other night, and it was pretty fun, but it's stock. Nothing else we could do to it, you know? If we threw some long tubes at that thing, threw a flex sensor, threw some intakes at it, and, you know, did some minor weight reduction, it is a daily after all, there's no point in gutting it. And I honestly don't think taking out the rear seats does anything anyways. It's funny when you see that, when people say, oh, he took out the rear seats, man, this guy's fast. Have you ever taken out a rear seat? It weighs literally nothing. Like, rear seats typically weigh nothing, so you're not really losing much weight there. But yeah, I think it would be a pretty fun and fast car if we could do all that stuff. The bummer part is you can't. So who the hell would want to buy that vehicle? She got bored of it really quickly because there was nothing we could do to it. And jumping straight to a Whipple or straight to an S650 Roush blower, it's a big jump. You're going from 480 crank horsepower to 700 or 800 crank horsepower. It's a big ass jump. Nobody wants to do that, especially on like a daily driver. It is not practical. Sure, content creators are doing it. I get it. And I'm guaranteed there's people that do it and daily drive it. And you can keep your warranty with some of these kits if they're installed by a licensed dealer, which is another bummer. Why would I want to pay somebody to install the kit that I can install correctly myself? I've installed the Whipple before. I don't feel like paying someone $2,000 to $3,000 to install a $10,000 blower when I could do it myself. I get, there are dumb motherfuckers out there, but they're dumb motherfuckers. I think you should be able to install the kit yourself and have it inspected by a dealer, and then that would allow it to pass some sort of inspection and keep the warranty intact. I think that makes the more sense. Most car guys that are going out and spending $10,000, they're going to take their time and install it correctly. That's not something you just fucking wake up and decide to do. So I'm pretty sure if you wanted to, anyone can do it. But that would be, in my opinion, the smarter route to go. Drop off the vehicle at a Ford dealership, have them look at it, inspect it. If they want, test the torque on a couple bolts, make sure that they're somewhat within spec, and then there you go. Bada bing, bada boom, your car now has a Whipple kit with warranty. But paying somebody to do that, that's another just boring way to just not hold up your end of the warranty when it eventually blows up, which, I mean, it's a supercharged motor with 800 crank horsepower. If you think it's going to last forever, it's not. So anyways, yeah, that's my theory on why. I genuinely believe when the ECU gets unlocked on those, which is going to be a magical day for us, I think that the car is going to sell really well after that because people will be able to see the capabilities of it and they'll be able to see what you can do with them. There are some nitrous S650s right now that run like a wet shot, and you know, that's fine and all, but there's not many possibilities you can do. But again, once they unlock that and people start seeing, holy shit, I can run fucking 10s or whatever with a stock motor Gen 4 with some bolt-ons and weight reduction, I think it's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be a pretty good car that's going to start selling more. So, well, what do you guys think, though? Do you guys think it's more the government or more the manufacturers that are limiting or restricting people from touching their stuff? Could be a mixture of both, but genuinely, I don't know. I've never looked into it past just conversation, so it's an interesting topic to say the least. What are some other sports cars that are failing, and what are some other ones that are succeeding? The C8 Corvette is succeeding, in my opinion. Like I said, I see them just about everywhere. I think that car is doing great in sales just based on what I can see. For all I know, it's just my area, but my area seems to have a lot of C8 Corvettes, so I would assume that they're selling well. Now, the crazy thing is they are depreciating like a motherfucker. Like you can almost go out and buy a C8 Corvette for $40,000 plus. You know, under 50 is crazy for a mid-engine American sports car. That is absolutely insane. The amount of performance you get out of a base C8 Corvette, although I don't like the car aesthetically and just like appearance-wise, you get some good performance out of that thing. That thing I'm sure is fun as fuck around a track or through some twisties. Yeah, it's not a mover in a straight line, but hey, you know what? You get a mid-engine, fancy, exotic-looking sports car for under $50,000. I can't think of another car that can do that. I mean, a Lotus Elise, maybe? I mean, that's a pretty fancy-looking car, but it's not going to have the same amount of performance as a C8 Corvette. Yeah, it'll be fun through some turns and stuff, but I think the C8 Corvette takes it just all around. I do think the Lotus looks a little bit more elegant, though. The C8 totally looks like something a middle schooler drew and was like, this is a sports car. This is how I would draw a Lamborghini. That's my impression of the vehicle. But that car's selling well. I think a lot of boomers bought that car, and I think the boomers immediately started selling them when the Z06 came out. And then now all the boomers are selling the Z06s to prepare themselves for the ZR1. And I think that's honestly just tanking the market. It's similar to what McLarens do. McLaren releases new models so often that their models just become obsolete within a handful of years. Like I was able to pick up an MP412C for under $100,000 and the car was 9 years old or 10 years old. That's crazy. The MSRP on that car was $270,000 and I was able to pick it up for 90 something with low mileage and a good maintenance history. That's pretty crazy. It's just because McLaren keeps releasing newer and newer cars and their cars just become obsolete. There's going to be a time where I genuinely think 720s are going to be mid to low $100,000 cars because they're just going to keep releasing shit. McLaren market honestly sucks. You're already seeing it with the 570. The 570, when I bought my car, was like a high $100,000 to a low $200,000 car. Now they're almost near MP412C prices around COVID. During COVID, it's when I should have sold my MP412C if I'm being honest. But during COVID, my MP412C I probably could have sold for 110 to 115, maybe 120 if I was being extra generous or if someone was being extra generous. I probably could have sold it for around that and I would have profited like $20,000-ish. But I didn't and I ended up losing money, but you know, I don't buy cars to make money. I buy cars to have fun and make content. So I really don't care. But yeah, I think if you look now, 570 prices are around that. You can find them for $120,000, which is pretty crazy. Some as low as $100,000. I'm going to just Google 570 for sale really quick and see what we get. Let me see. McLaren 570 S for sale. This is in my area, so it's going to be probably pretty expensive. Damn. Yeah, some of these are still pretty expensive. 150, okay. A lot of them are still kind of high. 130, that's pretty good. That's kind of like what I was saying, 130, 140, 150, 170, 128. Here we go. 2017 McLaren 570. Where's the lens? There it is. $128,000, and they say it's a good deal. So, $129,000. It's not a fluke either. There was a second one. Here's another one. Even cheaper. Perfect. $116,000 for a 2018 570 Spider, which I think is usually worth more. Spiders in the supercar market, I think, usually go for more. But you get my point. McLaren prices are tanking. I think it's the same reason that Corvette prices are going to keep tanking. I think eventually you'll be able to buy a good C8 for $45,000. And that's crazy. Let me just Google C8 prices really quick. C8 Corvette for sale. Let's see. 2021 Corvette for sale. 78, 66, 61. 72, 65. I've seen them cheaper. I know they've sold for in the 50s. So, Again, they might be flukes, but we're starting to see them drop. I mean, low 60s is still pretty crazy for the car. People that are asking 80 for them are honestly smoking dick, but I've seen them posted on Instagram for less. Oh, here we go. No, there we go right there. Look at that. It didn't take long. This one's local to me, too. Bless me. Okay. 58. Doesn't show a picture of it. There we go. 58. Hard top. Look at that. $58,000. How many miles, you ask? It's a 2022, and it has 20,000 miles. Pretty crazy, if you ask me. I really hope, honestly, that the Z06 prices drop too, because that would be one that I'm actually interested in. I do like the C8 Z06. My buddy Johnny, his family has one, and we've gone to canyons before, and his is stock, and his shit is badass. I'm telling you, that is a badass car. I think this would beat it, but that's just straight line. There's a lot more to cars than just straight line. So who really gives a fuck? That thing I think would be so fun through a canyon. Like my MP412C was fun, and him and I were just ripping it through the canyon, just having a blast. And again, good old time. That would be a car. If that car dropped to like under 80 or around 80, I think I would pick one up, which is about what I got this thing for. So yeah, that would be a car definitely that I would consider. It just sounds so good. It sounds like nothing you've ever heard before, American-wise. It looks good, and I think that that's just how they should have released the C8. It's wider. It has great exhaust tips. It sounds good. I think they should have scrapped the base model, just released that, and just released the ZR1. The C8 base model I do not like, but whatever. They didn't make it for me, clearly. How much time are we at? 19 minutes. We're good. What other sports cars, new sports cars, are failing or succeeding? The sad part is we live in a time, especially if you're new to the car scene, where there's not many options anymore. When I was first getting into the car scene, there were a handful of options, and a lot of options also weren't as dated as they are now. Like, you think of the S2K, and that's becoming almost classic car territory. Like, that's a pretty old vehicle. You know, you look at old like EKs and EGs, and those are really old vehicles. Nowadays, you have the Corvette, the Mustang. You don't have any Pontiacs. You don't have any Lincolns. You don't have any of these weird oddball cars making fun cars anymore. You don't really have Lexus making any sports cars anymore. I mean, like they have sports cars, but they're not like car enthusiast cars, you know? Like, they're like, oh, we want to upsell you a little bit, so we're going to sell you the IS 500 or whatever, and it's just the fastest version of the IS. You know, it comes with the 5.0. And that's cool, but you don't buy that as a car enthusiast and like plan on building it. You know, it's kind of just like a, hey, why not type purchase, in my opinion. You have the Infinities still. You got the Q50 and the Q60s. You have the Hondas, the Type R and the SIs, the Acuras. That's cool that the Integra's back in the Type S. Although I think those sales are really fucking bad as well. But yeah, there's not many options. You have the 400Z, boring ass option. You have the Mark V Supra, too expensive of an option. You have R35s, way too expensive of an option. There's not much. You either go with a Mustang or like a Mark IV Supra nowadays, and that's it. Or Mark V, my bad. You don't go with a Mark IV. Mark V. Or a Honda. Those are like your three main options. Nobody's really buying the 400Z, and I don't blame them. Oh, you have BMWs. I guess you do have BMWs. BMW's on the list. I didn't forget about you guys. Audi, I wouldn't say is on the list. People do buy Audis, but that's more rare. But yeah, you could buy a 340i. But again, I wouldn't consider that a sports car. I don't think the 340i is a sports car. I think it's a sedan with sports car characteristics, but I would not consider a 340i a sports car. Yes, it has a B58. Yes, you can make the B58 fast. That's not crazy knowledge to me. Would you consider a Silverado a sports truck? No, it's a truck with a V8. It's not a sports truck, you know? Would you consider the F-150 Coyote a sports car? No. You see what I'm saying? I don't think the 340i is a sports car. Sorry if I hurt your feelings. It's a cool car. I'm not saying it ain't cool. I'm just saying it ain't a sports car. So, but yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, name a sports car that I'm not thinking of. Because I honestly can't. Ain't nobody buying the Z4. Well, nobody's buying that shit. 340i, all of the M cars, great cars, again, but kind of out of most people's price points, so I won't even consider them on this list. They're more of a luxury sports car. Yeah, there's just not many options nowadays. And it kind of blows. You know, when we were shopping for Mammy's car, we were looking around, and there's just not many options. Like, we were looking at older vehicles. Like, you could buy a 5th gen Z01 or Z28, sure. Z01s, I think you can get for cheaper than the new S650. So why would you buy the S650? You know, it's locked anyways. You could buy the old Z01, and it has the LSA, and you could throw corn at it right away and make 600 horsepower. So why would you buy the S650 for $10,000 extra? You see what I'm saying? That's why new sports car sales are failing. They suck. Anyways, yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up. I could keep yapping, but I think I kind of summarized it pretty well right there. There's better options on the used car market, more bang for your buck, more freedom, better looks, better sounding, and more unique. Anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. I will cover this more in depth with the S650 in the main channel video. I did leave some stuff out, so if you want to see that, go check it out when I post it, or probably in a day or two. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Until next video, peace.